Hello, this is not your chem tutor, and this is part 4 of my series on reaction stoichiometry. In this video, I will teach you how to determine the percent yield of a reaction. But before you continue this video, make sure you have watched part 3, where I talked about determining the theoretical yield. As usual, I have included examples so you can practice some calculations. Of course, we start with the definition of percent yield. Percent yield is defined by the following formula: actual yield divided by theoretical yield times 100. So it's a fairly simple and straightforward formula. Now let's differentiate theoretical yield from actual yield. In part 3, I already taught you about theoretical yield. Theoretical yield is something you can simply calculate from the mass or the amount of the limiting reactant. On the other hand, you cannot simply calculate the actual yield because you obtain this experimentally. So this means you need to go to a laboratory, you need to carry out the reaction, and at the end of the reaction, you will determine the amount of the product, and that will be the actual yield. So again, the difference is that theoretical yield is calculated and actual yield is obtained in the lab or obtained experimentally. In written exams, the actual yield is almost always given or provided because there's no way you can carry out or perform an experiment during a written exam. Okay? Now let's go back to example 1. Upon reaction of 5 grams of carbon and 10 grams of Fe2O3, we have 4 sub-questions, A, B, C, and D. In part A, we already identified the limiting and excess reactants. And in part B, we already determined the theoretical yield of Fe, which is 6.99 grams. In this video, we will answer part C. If 4.50 grams of iron forms after the reaction, what is the percent yield? To calculate the percent yield, we will use the formula given earlier. If you read the problem, it says here 4.50 grams of Fe forms after the reaction. So this number was obtained experimentally, therefore it's the actual yield. 4.50 grams divided by the theoretical yield we got from the previous video was 6.99 grams of Fe. And then times 100. So grams will cancel. 4.50 divided by 6.99 times 100 is approximately equal to 64.4. And since this is percent yield, you put percent. So the answer to this item is 64.4%. This is the percent yield of the reaction.